the company I went to work for that I left was starting a commercial consulting division here in Denver. They're mostly a Beltway consulting company. And so there wasn't anything really special about them by any stretch of the imagination, other than some of the relationships we had with clients. And that place also had an evil story to it. We got a new vice president who ran commercial division back in the Beltway, and we had to go out and present to her what we were doing. And we'd done so many new customer service facing systems using internet technology that I had started working on an entrepreneuring thing to propose this to other telecom companies, that we would take a lot of the stuff we'd done at US West and be able to provide that to other companies. And we were in a validation phase with a number of very large companies in that regard, and she basically shut it all down. And so we fell back into our roots of working on learning systems using internet technology to train service reps how to use green screen applications. And that's when I got them to hire Avitech to build the first Java-based client of that thing. And then I started working at Avitech, and really in a marketing standpoint, Tim and I were both able to carry pretty good, large amount of projects underneath us as engagement managers. But I helped kind of put some of the focus onto the company about, we really were going to differentiate with the technology. All we did was Java development. We became a Sun Certified Java Center, one of the first ones of those. That got us hooked up with the folks at WebLogic, who were a very young Java application server at that point in time. They got acquired into BEA. We happened to be one of their primary service providers. That our model was, because we needed to bootstrap everything, this is one of Tim's ideas, but it dovetails into all this stuff really well. If you bill weekly, in 4 weeks you can figure out if you've got a sucky client or a good client. And if you've got a bad one, you fire them, because they're not going to pay you and you're going to spend way too much time with them anyway. So we delivered work every week, and that's how we got into this agile and iterative development process. Was we would deliver every week, and major deliverables every 6 weeks, but we billed every week. And as a result of billing every week, we could use the cash flow from our customers to build the company. And that finance side of it, agile development side of it, married up with a fairly hot set of technologies and a great market around the telecom community here in Denver was kind of part of that story. So we focused on Java, and as a result, we became critical to WebLogic and then BEA, because they only got license revenue when these applications got put into production. It was free for developers, but cost money to put it into production. Well, we would do it in 6 weeks. And we were really good at doing it in 6 weeks, so that was our big value proposition was, well, the sales reps now could get paid 6 weeks after they actually got the development seats in hand. Well, we got married up with the Western Regional sales rep, who is now our EVP of sales, Don Hazel, and our fourth partner.
We have some students here tonight who might be thinking about starting a business, coming right out of school, out of, say, a graduate program. Did you need the consulting experience looking back? Could Avitech have had happened from a skill set perspective without the consulting experience before?
I think it would have been bloody. I think we could have, and I believed that I wanted to be an entrepreneur before working at that consulting firm. But my dad, who was also an entrepreneur, gave me some good advice that I took to heart, which is go spend somebody else's money, make some mistakes when you can afford, when it doesn't cost you anything. And there are few things better than working 70, 80 hours a week for 2-3 years for different customers trying to solve their most strategic problems that I can think of. Obviously, that's not necessarily the easiest path, but I think I learned more in that 3 years by year than probably any time with the possible exception of Rally, because running a venture-backed software is a lot different than just running a business, and that's another step function in sophistication and being in a product company. But that was great, and I don't think I would have been successful.
We ran a project business, right? And so we were negotiating with international as well as the Department of Defense, we had pretty sophisticated clients, and I don't think if we had known how to engagement manage those kinds of things and what that looked and smelled like, if it was going to be a successful project, or if you'd set it up right from charter, we learned from some great folks in the consulting industry about how to set things up to make them run successful, even on short sprints. And
Had we had mentors like we had at that business, yes, I think we would have been successful.
so my answer would have been no. I didn't know how to run projects like that. I didn't know how to, and at Avitech, why we were so successful is we kept all of our customers. They just kept adding more and more projects to us because we were much better than any internal IT development, both in the technology as well as our delivery, as well as our ability to scope out the work.
We did maybe 15 projects for US West, and over 50% of our revenue we were a sub to somebody else selling it. We did work over and over and over again with the subs. So we're outsourced IT.
So Avitech was bootstrap business, $25,000 total in it, scraping it together to buy servers and things like that. You started in 96 or 95?
I think it was the end of 95.
95, end of 95.
I started in mid-96.
So sort of 96, 97, 98, what was the ramp as you built to a $10 million company, recognizing that you had no real investment, you had to make money every month to pay people?
I think we grew plus or minus 2%, 100% every year. And I think we were within a couple percent of our budget every year.
Mm-hmm. So basically doubled every year.
We were profitable every month of its existence.
Did you have any oh shit cash flow moments?
We had a defining moment in the company where we had half to 2/3 of our staff working for I'm going to say the name, a company called Intalis, which was a pretty interesting company back in '97 that was sold to Orem, then sold to Bond. Is Bond still in business? I don't know about them much. In the ERP space.
They've long been sold.
They were in a death march project where I'm getting my stories confused. Two different stories.
A configurator.
Yeah, no, that wasn't the project I'm talking about. Oh yeah, it is. Yeah. We had two very similar projects. So anyway, the end result was we weren't going to be successful. Yeah, no, it's a different project. This is a company called DMW Group in Colorado Springs. We weren't going to be successful. We were building a $10 million system. We were about $1 million in. There was no technology behind on the servers where this consulting company who had sold it said there was a bunch of stuff. And they had asked us to basically work 24 hours a day and staff round the clock 24/7 in order for them to be successful, rather than fire them as a customer, which I thought was the wrong thing to do. And I think we were great partners. We had a ultimatum, which probably was the wrong approach, but we pre-sold it to the guy running the project and said, listen, if this is going to be successful, we have to run it because it's being run into the ground and there's no chance for it to be successful. And if there's no chance for it to be successful, we don't want to be part of it anymore because we're just taking money we weren't doing anything because there was no work to be done because there was no software there. We made that pitch. It was not received in the light I had hoped. I offered to take the project on a fixed bid, which would have bankrupted the company, I'm sure, because I felt it was very important to give them an option. They rejected it summarily. We told them that's fine. We'll roll our people off 2 a week. We did it in 4 weeks. We lost about $500,000 in revenue per month that was sustaining us, and somehow we were able to get those folks back billable on within a matter of weeks. But that defining moment in the company set a cultural element for Avitech that let people know we won't make you work 24/7 indefinitely on a stupid project. We care about you, and as a result of that and other things, we had hugely high retention, and we believed we could do anything. And firing a customer was probably the most significant event in the company.